Good evening everyone. In this video today I will be talking about three more topics which is covered under the chapter 2 of Indian economic development, that is features of economic policy before the year 1991, second merits of planning, and third demerits of planning. Before I come into the features of economic policy before 1991, let's talk about some merits and demerits of planning. Well, all of you know that there are two types of plan, that is long term plan and short term plan. Short term plans are year specific, while long term plans are 5-year plans. Now, the first big merit of 5-year plans, the first big merit of planning was that our national income got increased. Because in every 5-year plan, in a short term plan, you will see more industries were opened, more employment was given, which increased employment, which increased earning capacity of people, which increased standard of living of people, which thereby increasing the national income. Secondly, when industry started, when people's standard of living started, when people started to earn from their work, their per capita income also started to increase. You will be surprised to know that today the per capita income in our countries exists somewhere close to 70,000 rupees. This is because of the fact that there are more number of industries, there is high development in our country, there are greater availability of goods and services. So this is where it shows that not only the per capita income increased, but also there has been increase in the national income. Thirdly, the biggest success of planning has been that savings and investment, that is S and I, have increased. Now, how are savings increased? The government gives some attractive rate of interest for persuading people to deposit their money into the banks, and from this money the banks give loan to the businesses, which raises the investment, which raises the employment opportunities, which raises the production because of the increase in the savings. Fourth point, which has been the merit of planning, is that there has been growth of industries. Over here, please understand, growth of industries is defined in two categories. Number one, increase in number of industries, and number two, increase in production of different goods. One, increase in number of industries, and increase in number of production, various types of production of goods. This increase in various of production of goods is called as diversification. So not only the industries have grown in numbers, but also the industries have now become diversified. How the industries have become diversified? You can see today we have iron and steel industry, today we have machineries industry, today we have chemical fertilizers industry, today we have coal industries, today we have electricity production industries. Many types of big industries are existing in our country, which has led to diversification, and the more number of the various types of industries open, the more will be the growth of industries. So the first point is of achievement of planning is increase in the national income. Number two is increase in the per capita income. Third one is increase in savings and investment. Four is the growth and diversification of industries. And the fifth and the main point is development of infrastructure. You see, in the past 60 70 years, too many infrastructure have developed widely. Railways have been increased, many areas have been connected, roadways have been developed, airways have increased, there has been increase in the installed power generation capacity, IT sector has grown. There has also been development in the opening of schools. There has also been control in the death rate. There has also been increase in the average life expectancy. So all this development is called development of infrastructure. Another point which talks about which you can relate with the growth of industries is that when industries grow, they require large number of people for employment. So when they require large number of people, this is called increase in employment. And also Even if all the people do not get employment, there has been many unemployment schemes which are being run by the government so that people do not remain short of money at any point of time. So the basic points of success of planning include: 1, increase in national income; 2, increase in per capita income; 3, increase in savings and investment; 4, increase growth and diversification of industries; 5, increase in infrastructure; and 6th is the increase in employment. Well, having said about the merits, it does not necessarily mean that there will be no failures. Now let's talk about some of the failures of planning. Now the first point which why planning has always failed is because inflation rate in our country has always been very high. Now what is inflation rate? Inflation rate is the general increase in the price of goods. Inflation rate is the general increase in the price of goods. Means for the same good you are paying more. So if you are paying more and the good is the same, it means inflation has increased. This is where the government has failed. Second is, in spite of the fact in infrastructure have developed, the development has been very inadequate. The development has been very inadequate. Inadequate means some areas which have developed tremendously well, but some areas which have not developed at all. So the gap between development and non-development is very high. This is called inadequate infrastructure. Like suppose for example, there is one state in India, Chhattisgarh, which is producing electricity and distributing to many other states. It means the production of electricity is very wide over here. Over there, electricity has developed tremendously well. But see our state, that is Jharkhand, in spite of the fact that we are having huge coal production, there is still electricity crisis. It means the infrastructure of electricity have not developed much. This is what I am talking about, inadequate infrastructure. The third point is, in spite of the fact that employment has increased, it does not mean that unemployment has become zero. Still today there are unemployment, and this is the biggest failure of planning. The fourth one is poverty. Still today our country is considered as a poor country, a developing country. Why? Only because the number of poor that is in BPL, that is below poverty line, are still very high, and these people even today, after so many years of independence, so many years of starting of planning, are not able to get the basic essentials of life, that is food, shelter and clothing, which in today's in today, if I talk about numbers, might even range to 30 to 40% of the total population. Now these were the merits and demerits of planning. Let's talk about the third and the last topic in this chapter, that is what were the features of our economic policy before the year 1991. Now understand one thing, 1991 in our economy has been considered as the most important year, is because only after 1991 the concept of LPG had started in our country. Well, LPG in economics, means as liberalization, privatization and globalization. Prior to 91, before 91, these were not existing. Globalization was not existing. But after 91, there was huge development in our country. Now, what was the policy in our country, before 91? Please try to understand those things. Now, first thing, please understand, the government gave more weightage to the public sector. Before the year 91, the government gave more weightage to the public sector because public sector always worked for the welfare of the people, and you will be surprised that 17 industries were reserved only for the public sector. Now, when so much of benefits were given to public sector, the second point was that private sector was strongly dealt with. Any new industry, if it wanted to get started in private sector, they needed a license to start, and it is said that for getting this license, they needed to give a huge red tapism. Red tapism means bribery. Third point is the government controlled the small scale industries, the small industries, through some acts called as MRTP Act, that is Monopolistic and Restrictive Trade Practice Act, Monopolistic and Restrictive Trade Practice Act, and this was done, and they were protected from competition so that small scale industries develop, which will indeed develop the rural areas. And the fourth point was that before 1991 our country focused more on import substitution, which means the domestic production of goods were imported from abroad. The domestic production was tried to increase so that we do not give money to abroad to bring the good, rather than we produce the good in our own country and save money in regard, which will also make us self-sufficient. So the first point is more weightage to public sector. Second, strict dealing with private sector. Third, protection of small scale industries. Fourth, focus on import substitution. And fifth one, we were also focusing on saving and investment. How was savings increased? The bank started to give higher interest rates. give higher interest rates, and from this money the producers were given so that they could have started their business. I hope this topic gives you a clear understanding of the planning chapter. Thank you everyone.